Audio log number 17, June 10th, 1975, 9:45 p.m. SPT-9802, Dr. Elliot Admanser. We've been working on this experiment for 3 months now with little progress. We have had trouble with funding recently. No one seems to value this work the way that I and Evelyn do, and those who even barely understand how important this research is do not think it is worth the money that it costs to run the machinery we've been building. Evelyn and I have been funding much out of pocket, and our money is starting to get tight. It does not bother me much, though. Every aspiring scientist is ridiculed by his peers until he makes his breakthrough, and this will simply need to be mine. Whenever I begin to get discouraged, I imagine the looks on their faces when Evelyn and I write our successful report. It's a moment I look forward to frequently, and it often gets me through a rough night better than the cheap coffee we've been drinking to cut costs. Mother called me again today. She complained about how far away I am, and I had to explain that this was the only place in the whole world where our experiments may be successful. This, of course, led her to say she's still confused about what we're doing. No matter how many times I try to explain multiversal theory and space-time research to her, she never seems to get it. I opted for a slightly simplified concept of our goals. I explained to her that everything that happens to us in our universe is on one track, like how water flows down a tube. But Evelyn and I believe that there's the possibility of hundreds of thousands of different tubes branched off from our own, where water flows differently based on different choices that we made. Evelyn believes that there could be different continuities entirely separated from our own, but I find that causes complexity and ramifications of our research to worse than tenfold. We're trying to stretch space-time— my metaphor. The lining of the tube enough that it may be possible to look at other tubes, or even try and travel between them. Mother seems confused about the possibility of such time travel, as she called it. I then conceded that, of course, we must first prove that these other tubes exist before we try multiversal travel. Her tone of voice as she said goodbye made it clear that not only did she not believe that any of this was possible, but was also very disappointed that I would waste so much money on something so dangerous and, to her knowledge, pointless. I know this because she was not afraid to tell me exactly that before, though I suppose she finds it useless to argue with me on it now. But it is for her that I started this project at all, so I will press on despite her complaints. She will understand one day when I'm able to prove to her the value of our work. I must be getting rest soon. Evelyn is already asleep. I can hear her snores. We will start work again early in the morning, and I don't want to be late. Audio log number 21, June 14th, 1975, 8:32 p.m. SPT-9802, Dr. Elliot Admanser. Evelyn shared with me the great news this morning. She found us a very wealthy sponsor who's willing to fund us. I believe our new benefactor is a distant family member of hers, a great uncle or distant cousin or something like that. I'm not quite sure how she managed to convince him, and she refuses to tell me any of the specifics. Evelyn got us our much-needed sponsor, though, so I have resigned myself to not caring all that much about where the money is coming from, as long as we have it. This has taken a great weight off my shoulders, and means that we can finally make the progress that has seemed so far from our grasp. Lately, since we've been having our money troubles, Evelyn and I have focused more on the mathematical side of our experiments. I was never as strong a mathematician as my brother, but Evelyn's never-ending skill supplies her mind lacks. It's funny to me that her last name is Jackson, considering how often she's compared to the old adage. She's most definitely not a master of none, however, and I make this correction whenever we joke about her prowess in seemingly every avenue. I hope that now we can apply our, mostly her, mathematical findings to something much more my style, such as engineering the machinery or writing the reports. Sometimes I worry that I'm slowing Evelyn down. I worry that she'll grow tired of my shortcomings and replace me with a new partner. I wish she could have gotten the chance to work with Arlo. Evelyn is yelling for me now. She's found something and needs my help. Well, I suppose it's enough self-pity anyways. If I was really so worried, I would go make myself valuable. I do hope she doesn't need help with any math. Audio log number 26, June 19th, 1975, 5:18 a.m., SPT-9802, Dr. Elliot Admanser. I'm recording this a little earlier in the day, or perhaps much later than the others. Evelyn and I have been up all night tweaking the math, and I think my eyelids have never been open this long, and never have I had this much caffeine in my body. Evelyn, of course, barely seems to be bothered by the long hours, although I believe she's fallen asleep now. It was worth it, though, because we have finally prepared for the first real experiment, and I am beyond excited. We've calculated that the best time to run the experiment would be in the moments preceding and following midnight, and plan to test this theory at that time tonight. It feels as though we're so close to our goal, and soon all of the work we put in will pay off. We can finally prove to everyone that this was worth it. Everyone will see, everyone will know, and I can finally give Mother back the life she deserved. I can finally make up for my greatest mistake, and all of this work will be worth it. I cannot wait. I must get some rest, though, if we intend to run the experiment tonight. Audio log number 27, June 20th, 1975, 2:06 a.m., SPT-9802, Dr. Elliot Admanser. We ran the experiment tonight, and it worked. I am in genuine disbelief. We ran the machine at 11:58 p.m. It took about 3 minutes to power up, and well, at 12:03 a.m., Evelyn and I began to notice a tear in space-time. It was only about 4 inches in diameter and was unclear if there was anything on the other side, but still, the hole in space-time. The tear only lasted about 8 minutes before the power supply to the machine was unable to sustain it any longer. I have perhaps never been more excited. All of the work I have put in for years has finally been proven true. All of my theories, my hopes. Evelyn is as excited as I am about this monumental breakthrough. She cannot wait for us to run it again, but I have convinced her to let me tweak the machine to sustain the power for longer. She begrudgingly agreed, and I will begin work tomorrow, or, well, later today. I'm so excited, though. I'm not sure how much rest I can get before it's time to begin work. However, I must try. Audio log number 30. June 22nd, 1975, 1:53 a.m., SPT-9802, Dr. Elliot Admanser. Something strange happened today. I made changes to the machine all day yesterday and ran the machine again at 11:54 p.m. It opened this time to approximately 3.5 feet across and lasted about 6 minutes. The difference, apart from the size of the tear, was that I could see, and I'm not quite sure what I saw. At first it was just dark, but if the dark was moving, like some sort of slimy emptiness, writhing and moving in a way that I do not think I fully understood. It was as if whatever was out there had yet to determine what it would be. But then I saw some sort of creature. It was the face of some sort of beast. It was covered in horns and feathers. It was as if it was a being of no curves, just sharp edges and angles. The most startling part was its eyes. They bored into mine with a hunger and malice that I've never seen. I was filled with an instinctual fear as I stood, eyes locked with this creature on the other side of the hole. I did something in this moment of fear that I am not proud of. I cannot tell Evelyn, for she would be furious, but I was so beyond frightened that I wasn't even thinking. I turned off the machine. It probably could have continued running for 10, maybe even 20 minutes, but I shut it off. I was too scared, and Evelyn, well, she seemed so excited that it was working. It almost scared me a little too, the joy she felt in the face of the creature. She must have seen it too. But then, if she had, why would she be so eager to open it up again? Is she merely braver than I am? That must be it. It is another sign of my weakness, this fear I feel for what is on the other side of the tear. I must be brave. This is for Mother. This is for Arlo. Audio log number 33. June 22nd, 1975. 3:33 p.m. SPT-9802. Dr. Elliot Admanser. Evelyn is becoming incessant. She's insisting, practically demanding, that we open the tear again. I've been able to put her off from it for a few days, but I've given in tonight. I know it is weak, but I cannot help but fear we may have mangled ourselves in something much bigger than we understand. It seems now that perhaps everyone's warnings, those sprinkled through the doubts, may have been right. Who are we to try and break through time and space? We were trying to control something perhaps we should have no part in. I was so desperate to change the past. Now I wonder how this will affect the future. Evelyn has none of these concerns. She's interested in one thing: opening the tear again and making it bigger and longer lasting. It dawns on me now that I do not know her motivations for our work. I suppose I never fully shared mine with her. I was far too joyful to find anyone who did not doubt the project, and far too embarrassed of my private motivations to ask any questions. What could be making her so eager to enter into that darkness? I fear to know the answer, and I fear more that it is too late to find it. Evelyn has convinced me to help her operate the machine tonight. She claims that we're close to our goals and that we should not rest until we reach them. I will situate myself as far from the power controls as possible to stop myself from stopping the experiment again. I've gone too far to turn back now, and I must follow through. Evelyn is setting up as I speak. She expects me when I am finished recording, and I cannot let her down again. I will not let these doubts cloud our efforts for scientific accomplishment. I pray this is not the last recording that I make.